guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian, and I'm here at the Rock Island Auction House today, taking a look at some of the guns in their upcoming December 2014 premiere auction. One of the ones that I found in the handgun racks that is just really up my alley, my area of interest of early semi-autos, is this Roth-Sauer semi-auto pistol. These date to about 1905. There's not very much information out there on them at all. A couple thousand were made. The serial numbers are actually their 3-digit serial number with a letter prefix. This one happens to be A115, which would make it one of the very first guns made. I've seen documentation on guns up to the middle of the C range. So that would mean that at least 2,500 or so were made. Probably not a whole lot beyond that. It is chambered for the extremely tiny 7.65, it's sometimes called 7.65 Roth-Sauer. It's basically identical to the 7.65 Frommer cartridge, and metric designation would be 7.65 by 13 millimeter. It is a little tiny thing. What makes this pistol interesting, among other things, is that it is another example of a long recoil pistol, meaning that the barrel and the bolt recoil together. And I bring the camera around here so you can get a closer look of exactly how this works and what its internals look like. So the Roth-Sauer was a collaboration between 3 different parties. One was Georg Roth, who was a financial backer. One was Karel Krnka, who was a Hungarian arms designer, who is the one who probably did all the engineering behind this. And the other is the company of Sauer Sohn, who actually did the manufacturing. Roth and Krnka had collaborated on a bunch of other designs. In fact, this is mechanically really pretty similar to the 1907 Roth-Steyr pistol, and also shares some features with the Frommer line of Hungarian pistols. And Frommer had also associated with Georg Roth. So a bunch of these guys clearly knew each other and were working at the same time on some of the same sorts of ideas. At any rate, Roth and Krnka put together the design for this pistol, but the manufacturing facilities that Roth owned at the time weren't really in a position to manufacture these in quantity. So what they did was license the design out to Sauer Sohn, hence the name Roth-Sauer, and Krnka kind of gets left out unfairly. But such is life. Now, I mentioned this is a long recoil action. What that means is that the barrel and the bolt are locked together and they recoil together for equal to or greater than the length of the cartridge, which in this case is about 13 millimeters. So the whole recoil stroke, the barrel and the bolt are locked together. When they reach the end, the barrel locks open, the bolt locks open, the barrel then recoils forward on its own spring. Once the barrel is seated in the fully forward position, like it is right here, then that trips a release on the bolt. The bolt then comes forward on a separate spring. It strips a new cartridge out of the magazine, chambers it, and you're ready to fire again. This pistol has an internal magazine of 7 or 8 cartridges. That was, again, a fairly common feature around the turn of the century, those internal magazines. You can see we have a stripper clip guide right here. And that's how you would load the magazine. It's also very interesting in that it is a striker-fired gun, and like the 1907 Roth-Steyr, it's a very advanced design. We have a cocking indicator here, which is physically connected to the firing pin, and it's partially extended, which means the gun is ready to fire. When you pull the trigger, this cocking indicator comes farther back because the striker, when the pistol is at rest like this, the striker is held only halfway back. In order for it to go the rest of the way back and have enough potential energy to fire a cartridge, you have to actually pull the trigger. In this way, it's kind of like today's safe action guns, like the Glock. There, the striker is now at full extension. When I pull the trigger a little bit more, it fires. You'll see the indicator is now completely recessed, and when I let go of the trigger, it stays there. If I pull the trigger some more, the pull is much lighter. You can hear it clicking, but it doesn't actually do anything. That's because in order for the striker to be put back in position at its halfway point, ready to fire again, you have to actually cycle the slide. Of course, that happens automatically when you fire the gun, but if you dry fire it, like I have, you have to go in and manually recock the gun. Now in this case, the bolt is staying open because the magazine's empty, which is a somewhat modern feature. We have a very handily located, very conveniently located bolt release right there. So once again, as I pull this slide back, you can see that the barrel, you can see the barrel comes in, and right here, the breech and the bolt are locked together. They come all the way back, like this. When I pull it all the way to the back, the bolt locks open, the barrel goes forward under its own spring. This is a very strong design. It has a huge margin of safety, and frankly, it's massive overkill for the little tiny cartridge that this fires. Now, while we're looking at this part, and when I have the gun cocked, I want to point out there is sort of a manual safety, although it's, first of all, it's not a very reliable one, and second of all, it's really not necessary because of this striker action trigger. The safety is to take this knurled ring on the back and just rotate it slightly. You can see here, the back of the gun is open, and we have this rectangular bar at the bottom. When I pull the trigger, that bar comes back. It's attached to the striker assembly. Well, if I rotate this, close that off, now that bar has nowhere to go, and it physically prevents the trigger from being pulled. So that's the manual safety. We can also happily take a quick look at the internals of the gun because it's very easy to get to them. You can see there are a couple of little grooved gripping areas on the front here. What I'm going to do is push in on this one and pull it forward on this one. It's a little hinged latch that lifts out like that, and then the whole side plate comes off the gun. So you can see here, this is our internal magazine right there. Here's our magazine catch button, which comes out nice and easily. If you've seen my video on the internals of like the 1910 Frommer, this bears a lot of resemblance to that pistol. However, the barrel spring, the recoil spring for the barrel, is up here inside the frame. The recoil spring for the bolt is actually located down here. You can just see it right in there. And then it has this rod that connects it to the bolt. So this lug rides inside this cutout. The easiest way to see this in action is for me to put the side plate back on. Like so. Then cock the pistol, and then we can pull the side plate back off. Now you can see this piece is locked all the way back. The recoil spring is coiled up here and ready to go, and as soon as one were to pull this lever, it unlocks from the bolt, the bar right there, and that pulls the bolt forward. I don't want to do that with the side plate off because I don't want to risk all the little pieces flying out. That would be a bad thing. One other interesting piece, on the bolt itself, it can sit, the striker can sit over there or back here. In this position, the firing pin is slightly retracted. That is to prevent it from firing out of battery, because it can only have the firing pin protrude when it's over on this side, and because of the locking lug on the bolt, it can only be on that side when the bolt has rotated into battery. Very clever. The safety, of course, is back here. Rotating this knurled ring prevents the striker from being pushed back. Right down here, there are two little tiny detents that the safety locks into. Those are not very secure at all, but they are there. Now, one other really particularly interesting little detail on this particular gun, and this was kind of the case, you'll see this on other guns of the time, is it was not that uncommon to have your name engraved into a gun that was special ordered for you. And in this case, we can see the top of the frame is marked with the name of R. Mueller, Cape Town. So this would have been ordered by someone named Mueller in South Africa. You can also see, it's a little tricky to see, but we have a marking here that says Patent Roth. Roth, as the financial backer behind this pistol and several others, had the patents in his name. And then we have a Sauer Sohn company logo back here, which is also repeated on the grips a hunter, a Jaeger. There's our serial number again on the bottom, A115. It's a gorgeous gun, feels great in the hand, and mechanically very advanced. Really the only downside to these pistols is trying to find the ammunition for them. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We don't often get a chance to take a look at some of these rare early handguns, and I particularly like this one. I'm not in a position to buy it myself, but it is up for auction, and if you're interested in adding it to your own collection, check the link right below in the description text. That'll take you to Rock Island's catalog page on it. You can create your account, place a bid right now if you're interested in it. Good luck. Thanks for watching.